Hey everybody, we are back with another Lost game. This time, something by Core Designs, interestingly enough, and Ioma, whoever that is, but this is Tomb Raider, the Osiris Codex. Now this one is quite the interesting game here. It is actually, it's not a port, it's its own thing, but it is in the world of what the really bad Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness before it kind of got its little reboot before the second reboot. So this is Lara Croft Tomb Raider, a bunch of levels. We'll just play a little bit of this because this is actually one of the longer games. And this has become one of my favorite, this is in German, so I'll have to translate for you. This is one of my favorite mobile games that we've covered so far because it is actually pretty dang good. I am a huge fan of kind of puzzle platformers and stuff like that, and this fits the bill right away for me. Now, if you look at it, it's very cartoony, it's very almost chibi. The character, funny enough, no one else will know this, but it reminds me of the character sprites from the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen game on the Game Boy. How I know that is my sister shared my Game Boy after I got rid of it, and she had a bunch of girl games on there. And I got suckered into that game because it was kind of like this, a puzzle platformer. But this is the Osiris Codex. Now, what's interesting about this game from Ioma is that it's actually part of a trilogy. And I dare say that they are, as a complete package, much better than whatever they were doing with Angel of Darkness. Now, you have a bunch of tools at your disposal, mostly platforming. You can drop down like this. You can move boulders around. You can do all sorts of things. You can use items, which you'll see in a little bit, and you even have combat, which works fairly okay if you think of combat in terms of puzzling and not run and gun shooting, but you do have access to weapons. So what is this one all about? So the story here, it's about Egyptian artifacts and stuff that's been stolen. And there's some sort of manuscript or something that goes through all three games, and you're trying to recover, well, essentially you're raiding tombs, I guess. So this is, of all the Tomb Raiders of this era, one that actually raided tombs. So I think that's pretty good. This one was released back in 2003. This is the end of the level, so we're at 2, now we're going 3. And each level, of course, adds a little bit of intricacy in terms of gameplay. So either they want you to master some type of gameplay element, and then the next level, usually they kind of expand it and make it a little bit longer, and then they'll add a new one, they'll make it longer, and so on. And for a mobile game on this platform in 2003, this is a pretty large game, not only in terms of its levels, but the stages themselves can go from really short, like you've just seen, to ones that can take you 10-15 minutes even to explore, maybe even longer, at least the very first time, until you kind of get your bearings with them. So this is a pretty big game, and Eidos didn't skimp around with this one, which is surprising. And because of that, so you can see, I'll use some dynamite right here, blow that area up and have access to new things. And here you'll see one of the first items you can get. This is the scepter, and you have to collect a bunch of them before the end of the game. Now you can't leave the level until you collect the item needed to, and then you have access to the door. So you will be stuck doing that. And then you have to figure out puzzling, essentially, to try to figure out which direction you can go, what you do, flip switches to open up new paths, and then the new path, even if it's going towards the exit, is a little bit of a challenge. You can see right here, in most games you would have opened that kind of area and then you would have been done. So here you're going to see the first signs of combat. You have access to your pistols. We'll pull them out right here. It looks like a dual pistol. I can't tell. So you have your 9mm when you're shooting down low, but when you're standing up, it looks like a shotgun, but I don't know if that's the case. And here's med packs. You actually have a health bar. It's not a life-based system. It's not a one-hit kill. You actually can take damage. So if you, unlike a lot of puzzle platformers, if you do something wrong, you do have the ability to kind of correct yourself if you move quickly enough. And here you're going to see kind of one of the puzzles that requires a little bit of thinking, not too much, but a little bit. And you kind of stack these guys up so we can get out of here. So the game itself, we're only going to go for a little bit because this isn't a full gameplay walkthrough. If you want that, we'll be happy to do that. We'll jump onto another stream that'll be just dedicated to maybe the trilogy of these games if you'd like to see that as well. But the gameplay has 15 levels. There's traps, puzzles, a bunch of objects that you need to collect and enemies. You do a lot of jumping. You have action levers and stuff. It's really fun. Now, with mobile games, there was a dedicated web page launch that has all the information, all the background and extra stuff and credits and stuff. Unfortunately, that shut down, so you don't have access to that. That was a cool little thing back in the day. And you got to remember, on these J2ME things, you're kind of working in the limitations of like a Game Boy in terms of space. So they left a lot of the big details out, a lot of the huge credits out, and they kind of transferred those to web pages. A lot of games did that. Those web pages have since been shut down, but as part of our effort to archive these games, as we're doing for mobile and VR, we are in the process of trying to collect as much information, either through the Wayback Machine, either through people that were involved in the development and the marketing side, to see if they have any things that we can have access to for the museum. So this is far more to us than simply, hey, here's the ISO file or the APK file or the Java file, applet or whatever, and boom, stick it on the archive. No, we really do want to create a museum. We want to have quotes and pieces from those involved, artists and developers and stuff. That's the kind of stuff we really like to do. So that's kind of why we do this. Also, every once in a while, we find an actual game that's really fun. So here's another little bit of puzzle. You see that you notice there's two stone things that you can step down on, and only this one will allow me to open up and have access. And you can see here, it looks like a shotgun. I believe it's 2 pistols. That would be more Laura style, and it will come down. So now you have to find that room, right? It's another piece of the puzzle, and you have to continue on. Now this, like I said, a single person programmed this. So we do have some information regarding the development team. Thankfully, a lot of this stuff has been archived because Tomb Raider is a popular franchise. Nick Reed is the developer behind this. The game had 2 artists, Ben Schroeder, I believe his name is, and Stefan Barnett. And I think they did a pretty fantastic job. There's a lot of little details like the walls on the background to make it look like you're inside a tomb and that sort of thing. Some of the character designs, as you can see, these enemies now are going to become a real problem, are pretty fun and kind of unique with the Egyptian god theme and stuff. Really, really like it. Now, while there was only one program, there's a bunch of designers and artists and stuff on there. So this was... also has a composer. We don't have access to the sound. Hopefully, if I can extract that before this gets saved, I'll feed that into on top of this gameplay. Right now, you really only get a couple of little bleeps and bloops. That's one of the problems with emulation on this platform right now. And another thing that, hopefully coming up soon, we can start a Patreon for help from the community, because we do want to hire a programming team to create a very proper, easy-to-use PC-based emulator for J2ME. There are some older ones that don't work very well. There's ones on Android that requires a bunch of work. So that's kind of part of that museum thing. It's not just an interactive museum where you can go on the webpage and look at some videos and stuff and marketing. We want you to be able to play these games as well. So talk about the games in the series. So this one is the Osiris Codex. They've used the Osiris name in other games before. The next one, which is probably the funniest to me, is the Quest for Cinnabar, and that just reminds me of Pokemon on Cinnabar Island, which is pretty much the same thing. It keeps the original of this game, the side-scrolling view with guns, collectibles, and all that stuff. It's just you are the next part of the series. You're back in England, so you've left Egypt. You're essentially in England. but it's the same game. And then the final game in this series is the Elixir of Life, which was released in 2004. Now, I usually have issues with games being released in chunks, but because this game was so well put together and so fun and actually challenging, I don't have that much of a problem, especially with the time. Oh, and I really ate that. You can take a big fall. Ooh, and that's not good. So I don't have too much of a problem if it's a really well done game, and this one is actually pretty well done. Now, the third game in the series, I believe, is the one with the most information on it. It's the most popular of the pair, or the trio, rather. But it's essentially the same game, another 15 levels, where you're doing running, jumping, and collecting all sorts of stuff. And it's the same team, so I assume, you make one really long game and you just cut it up into 3 chunks. Now, after this, of course, Angel of Darkness was an absolute unmitigated disaster on the PlayStation 2. They totally quit. And the next game is Puzzle Paradox, which is based on Tomb Raider Legends, where they essentially rebooted that first game because boy, did things not go well. And I believe that one was actually sometime in the mid-2000s. That's the very last game. Let me see my notes here. I'm waiting up here. 2006. So the last Tomb Raider game to release on a mobile phone, not a smartphone, rather, just a mobile phone, was 2006. And then the same year, for some unknown reason, maybe we'll find this based on Tomb Raider Legends too, is Lara Croft's Poker Party. You can play as 12 characters from IDOS brands and properties. So we have, I think there's I don't know, what is that? There's that little bunny from that weird Xbox game. There's another one. Oh, there's so many strange characters. I think Gex is in there as well. The Deus Ex is there. It's just a mess. So if you want those games, we're going to be tracking those down. I don't know how fun a poker game would be to show you guys on stream, but we'll see about that since we want to archive everything. So here you are. We'll end it right here on this beautiful death scene of Lara Croft on spikes like this is Mortal Kombat. So this is Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, the Osiris Codex on mobile. If you want a full playthrough, let us know. Maybe we'll do a full live stream on just these games. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to help out building this channel and helping us archive lost history so that it's not lost for future generations. So until next time, we'll catch you guys later. Have a fantastic day, night, or whatever time it is, and we'll see you again in the next video.